Madhava Punjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Madhava Punjabi Hari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari. Jai Mr. Paramahansa, Padavadikacharya, Ashtottara Shri Srimad, Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta, Prabhupada, Jai. Please stand, you can count with that Jai. Beautiful, Jai. Jai. Jai, Om Mr. Paramahansa, Padavadikacharya, Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Vedanta, Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Jai. Namacharya, Srila Vedanta, Jai. Jagannath Swami ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Transcendental Book Distribution ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to the assembled devotees. All glory to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Narayana Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering devotional service to the pure devotee, all that is inauspicious within the heart is destroyed almost to nil, and loving devotion to the Supreme Lord, who is glorified in transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this 25th day of June 2018 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And we are in Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 2, Daksha curses Lord Shiva, text number 12. But before we begin, can Damodar Kumar Prabhu, can you bring in some chairs, make the temple a little more inviting? Maybe more people will come and actually stay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'm going to wait till Damodar Kumar comes back, since the chorus voices and the chanting of the verse are so minimal. We need every voice we can get. He's going to get some chairs, because on Sunday night we take all the chairs out when we clean the floor, but we don't put them back in. So our chair sitters have come in, looked around, and gone out and left. So chant Hare Krishna in your mind until he comes back. There he is. There we go. Two nice chairs. We used to have a whole bunch of those white ones. Now they're down to a very minimal. I think they've been taking. The word is out on the beach. If you need these plastic chairs, come to the Hare Krishnas. Okay. So now we're ready to begin chanting. Damodar, you with us? We need every voice available on the chorus. Oh, here comes some other member. Okay, here we go. Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhyana vivadharhe vachapyakatanochitam Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhana vivadahe vachap akatanochitam Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhana vivadahe vachap akatanochitam Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhana vivadahe vachap akatanochitam Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhana vivadahe vachap yakritanochitam Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhana vivadahe vachap yakritanochitam Grihitva mrigasha panimma katalochanaha pratyudhana vivadahe vachap yakritanochitam Grihitva, taking mrigashava, like a deer cub, akshaha, of her who has eyes, panim, the hand, markata, of a monkey, lochanaha, he who has the eyes, pratyuthana, of rising from one's seat, abhivada, the honor, arhe, to me who deserves. Probably should be deserve. I deserve. Anyway, let me mark it as a possible change. Okay. Vacha, with sweet words. Api, even. Akutana, he did not do. Uchitam, honor. Janardhanas, a little lower. Otherwise I have to whisper. Translation. He, Shiva, has eyes like a monkey's, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like those of a deer cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words. So this is Daksha continuing his blasphemy of Shiva. No purport. Lupta kriyaya shuchaye manine bhinnasetave anicham apyad yadam balam shudraye voshitim giram. I had no desire to give my daughter to this person who has broken all rules of civility. Because of not observing the required rules and regulations, he is impure, but I was obliged to hand over my daughter to him, just as one teaches the messages of the Vedas to a Shudra. Purport. A Shudra is forbidden to take lessons from the Vedas because a Shudra, due to his unclean habits, is not worthy to hear such instructions. This restriction, that unless one has acquired the Brahminical qualifications, one should not read the Vedic literatures, is like the restriction that a law student should not enter a law college unless he has been graduated from all lower grades. According to the estimation of Daksha, Shiva was unclean in habits and not worthy to have the hand of his daughter, Sati, who was so enlightened, beautiful, and chaste. The word used in this connection is bhinnasetave, which refers to one who has broken all the regulations for good behavior by not following the Vedic principles. In other words, according to Daksha, the entire transaction of the marriage of his daughter with Shiva was not in order. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So Daksha is continuing, escalating, if you will, his diatribe against Lord Shiva, feeling personally affronted because his beautiful daughter, Sati, who had doe eyes are standard for beauty, especially in women's eyes, and his eyes just like a monkey. Now he's getting like, very much personal about it and insulting someone's appearance. And so he's going on like this, and he's just beside himself because he's seeing Lord Shiva externally. He's seeing, he doesn't bathe enough. He's got the skulls around his neck. He's always got the crematorium ash, which is considered contaminated. And so he's just revealing his innermost thoughts here about how unsuitable this match was. And on top of all of that, Shiva refused to get off of his high seat and honor the glorious Daksha. So this is the scene here, and there's some interesting lessons here. One thing that came to mind is how in the Upadeshamrita, there's only 11 verses, so every single one of them is very important. And in it, Rupa Goswami enjoins us not to judge devotees by their external appearance. Dristra sabhava janataiva pashasta dosha na prakratattamiha bhakta janasya pashet. Gangam samna kalabudbuddha pena panka brahma davattamapa gacchati niradharmai. When I was in New York, back in 55th Street, back in 79, I think the book came out maybe a few months earlier, 78 something, maybe 79. And we were all enjoined to learn the first 8 verses of the Upadeshamrita, and after every Bhagavatam class, the whole congregation, all the devotees chanted together. So they kind of burned into my brain. So in this verse, he says, Drishta sabhava janataiva pashasta dosha. One should not see a devotee who is like maybe ill or deformed or has some physical problem or maybe a speech defect or something like that. One should respect him according to his level of advancement, which you can tell by other means. His detachment from material things, his eagerness to hear and chant and so forth. Just as the learned bathe in the Ganges, which is always purifying, even during the rainy season when there may be all kinds of dirt and bubbles going, and even, you know, the corpses floating by a little bit, you know, you still bathe there because it's purifying. So Daksha is violating this injunction, obviously. He's judging Shiva by his externals, and it's all born of his sense of entitlement, because he is the father of Sati, and therefore Shiva is in a subordinate position as a son-in-law, supposedly. So this is a lesson for us. All the Bhagavatam stories, their histories rather, have important lessons for us to learn. And this one, it reminds me of that verse in the Bhagavad Gita where those in the mode of ignorance, demons, they're very expert at insulting others. So he's cultivating it now. You know, he's getting with the eyes and all these things. And so this is a sign of someone who's controlled by the mode of ignorance to some extent, because mode of ignorance is when you get uncontrollably angry. And the insulting and the feeling oneself. You can tell, even today, you can see, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, you see through the eyes of the Bhagavad Gita. And you go to certain parts of this city, every major city in America has its quarter where the gangs are ruling, where it's, you know, their territory or whatever. And if you go there, they're very quick to be insulted, isn't it? The more quickly you are to be insulted. Why you didn't, you looked me in the eye? Bang. You know, or something like that. Yeah, it's like that. The more quickly that one feels insulted and offended, and in fact you're practically looking for someone to do it, that's the deep mode of ignorance. It means they're very much in the bodily concept of life, territoriality, tribes, all of this different thing. So what is the quality of a devotee by contrast? This word comes, amanitvam adam vittam ahimsak chantararjavam. Does anyone recognize that half verse? 13th chapter, text 8. This is where Krishna is enumerating the qualities of knowledge. In this chapter, Arjuna had six questions he wanted clarified. What is the Chaitra? This is the body. Who is the knower of the Chaitra? The soul. It turns out there's two knowers. The super soul as well. What is the Prakriti and Purusha? What is his material energy, and who is the enjoying soul? In this case, Purusha. It also comes, he calls it the Supreme Purusha, is also mentioned there. And what is knowledge and the goal of knowledge? So he's systematically answering those, and here he's enumerating knowledge. And the first element of knowledge, real knowledge, of course, one of the elements is unalloyed devotion unto me, which Prabhupada says is the most essential of the elements of knowledge. Amanitvam, lack of pride, humility. Adambitvam. Now, in this context, adambitvam means straightforwardness, lack of deceptiveness or hypocrisy. This is a big characteristic of the demons. That's why Krishna says in the 16th chapter that the demons like to perform sacrifices externally. There's no real heart to it. They like to be seen as religious. It always comes to mind. I can't avoid it. Whenever I hear about this or think about this, I think about my time back in New York and growing up. And I remember a Life magazine came out. Life used to be a major magazine in America, big, big size, with a lot of pictures. They're known for that in some important stories. They were thought to be important at the time. They had a whole major feature on the mafia, in New York and Chicago. Those are the two main cities. And there was a rogues gallery, you know. You see their pictures. Now, they all look miserable. I mean, compared, you know, none of them look like they were very blissful, because they're all criminals, you know, nasty. But you know from the movies we'd see in those days and everything, they like to go to church. A lot of them are Catholic. They were Italians or Irish or whatever, you know. So they would go to church very, you know, ostentatiously, you know. But the last thing they're doing is developing any kind of saintly qualities, or, you know what I mean. It's just externals. This is what the demons like to. They like to be seen as good people, you know. So that's the qualities of the demons. Now Daksha is not a demon, but he as such. But he is showing qualities that are shared with the demons now, and that is he's completely lost it. Shiva is the greatest Vaishnav. Vaishnavanam yatasham bud. Prabhu quotes this all the time. In the 12th canto, it's describing of rivers, the best is the Ganges of Vaishnava, Lord Shiva. So, and Prabhupada explains, I think in the next series of verses, in the purport, how Shiva, yes, he's surrounded by the ghosts and the goblins and the Keturis and the rejected, but he's giving them a chance. In other words, in this purport, and we'll read it tomorrow, I get the feeling that Prabhupada is in one sense identifying there. He came to America. Nobody had any Brahminical qualification. Nobody knew anything about Vaishnavism. When he first came and he saw the Boston skyline and saw what was going on, he said, how are these people going to understand? Later on he said, he thought, he was apprehensive that when he spoke the 4 regulative principles, they would say, please go back to India. Because that's the life and soul of everybody here. Listen, sex, gambling, meat eating, intoxication. What house in PB except this temple is that not going on? So, so Prabhupada, he saw the task at hand, and he prayed to Krishna. You brought me here, so he must have his plan. So you please make my speaking, suitable for them. And it took a while. It took months before he actually got really good traction, and we know the history. But Prabhupada was very much picking up, the lost souls, especially when he came, even more so when he came to San Francisco. And he spent a couple of months there in the summer of '67, which was the summer of love, if you look at the history. But, the kids walking around on drugs and sleeping on the street, they heard about Shiva and they liked him. Yeah, crematorium, you don't have to bathe. Fine. So Prabhupada was doing that. He was giving a chance. And later on, because I've been following in his Lilamrita pastimes, when he went back to India, he would use, and of course he came with his dancing white elephants, a nice contingent of devotees. Yamuna was there, Shyama Sundar, and a bunch of others. Bhanu Swami as Bruce, he came. He was there in India when Prabhupada first came. And the Indians were just flabbergasted. Here are these Vaishnavas, and they're all shining with bliss, and Surat was like surreal. Surreal Surat. Just thought of that. Sorry. They've been going here and there and having some success, but went to Surat, the whole town, 50,000. They would all come out, and they would garland the devotees. They would be bunting along the way when they did the Harinam, and they would all be asked. It was amazing. The whole town of devotees, of Vaishnav. It was an amazing response. So Prabhupada would say that the advantage that these Westerners had over you Indians, who are rejecting your culture, no offense, he's a Vaishnava, he grew up in the movement, is that they don't hear all the hodgepodge philosophy. The Hinduism and this and that, and impersonalism and this God, that God, each village God. It's a whole big mess. And people don't take it seriously. But these simple Westerners, they didn't know anything. And when I spoke to them, not all of them, but some of them accepted what I said as face value. And their faith grew, and by practicing, they actually become purified. So this is what Shiva is doing in many cases. He's giving these ghosts and hobgoblins a chance to serve him and advance, from their dark situation. So another one here is Bina Setave. Now, Bina means to break. Now, Setave means bridge. You may not know that. Dharma Setu. Dharma Setu is the bridge of Dharma from this world to the other world. That's what it means. And here he's saying that he's been a Setave, but actually Shiva, he's maintaining Dharma. He's a great Vaishnava. He has his own sampradaya that is coming down from him, right? So he's exactly, Daksha is exactly speaking opposite to what the truth is. So we need a bridge. It's just like we're drowning in the ocean, right, of samsara. So Dharma is a bridge, if you will, that can let us cross that ocean, cross the difficulties of this world. And why is that? Because the Dharma, which is real Dharma, which is given by the Lord himself, Dharma misakshat Bhagavan Pranita. This is spoken by Yamaraj. That real Dharma has to be spoken by the Lord. And anyone who is proclaiming to give Dharma, give real religious instruction, must be, we got to reclaim this word, channeling, you know. In other words, being a pure medium, a transparent medium for the words of the Lord. Now, why is it necessary to have the medium? Because Krishna only comes very, very infrequently, personally. But he leaves his books, and he sends his representatives, and they give the Dharma as suitable for the audience. Otherwise, what's the point? If Prabhu just came and spoke Bengali and Sanskrit, he would have gone back home. So the language is so important, and also he tailored the whole presentation so that the candidates could take it up. Basically, he just stressed the chanting at first. Go out to Tompkins Square Park and chant. And we should also be stressing the chanting, you know, public chanting. I feel we have to get back into that. That's so important because that's our face. We become purified, and people hear the holy name, they become purified, and a certain percentage become attracted. Those who have some background of devotion in previous lives, or just searching, or maybe somewhat in the mode of goodness, they're trying vegetarianism for a few months, and so they're feeling a little purified. All kinds of reasons people can become interested. And that the foundation is always the Sankirtan, inside and outside the temple. That's why I stress, if you can, arrange your schedule so you can actually attend the kirtans that we have. The Mangalartik and this Guru Puja Kirtan, which Prabhupada said is the most important of all the elements of the morning program. He said it. So, Daksha is, now the other point here, the Shudra is forbidden to take lessons from the Vedas. Now here, if Prabhupada had followed that very strictly, he would have come and only presented the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata was written for that purpose, right? Stri Shudra Dvijabandhunam Tvayina Shruti. This is in the first canto when Narada is explaining to Vyasadeva why he should write the Bhagavatam. And he'd already written the Mahabharata, and he was saying, yeah, it was needed in one sense. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita is there, but it was needed because the women and the Shudras and the Dvija Bandhus, those are outside the Vedic paradigm, they're not eligible to study the Vedas. It was carefully guarded because knowledge is power. And the Shudras and the others may distort the message, but they'll have some knowledge, and the whole thing will become dissipated. So they carefully guarded it. And it wasn't like today, you know, it's not like printing books by the million or now just download everything, you know. So the Vedas were restricted. The Shudras weren't supposed to chant them, and Prabhupada says it's like a law, you know, a lawyer. You can't practice law unless you go through school and study these. You can't enter into the law school unless you've gotten a degree from lower level of college. So, but what happens with us? Now you have a different situation. Where you have a pure Vaishnavism. It's for everybody, isn't it? I mean, certainly the holy name is for everybody. And Srila Prabhupada presented his the teachings of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, CC, all the others, so that go and distribute the books en masse. So you might say, well, he's violating this rule. He's giving all of this Vedic knowledge to people unqualified. Yeah, in one sense he's taking a risk. You know the story? I rarely have a story, but here's a nice story from Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya, he was studying, and his guru gave him the mantra. Was it Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? Narayana. Om Namo Narayana. So this is a standard mantra, and he said it's very secret, confidential mantra. Do not just give it to anyone and anyone, because this mantra will liberate you from birth and death. Rama says, oh, really? So he got up on the parapet and he said, everybody come, I got the mantra, you can become liberated. He just immediately disobeyed his guru, and he gave him this mantra as far as possible. So his guru said, what did you do? You violated my order, And Ramanuja said, because that's a very serious thing and you may go to hell. He said, I don't care, I'll go to hell because if I can liberate all these people, let it happen. So, in many ways, Vaishnava preachers are like that, because just like the ideal Vasudev Dutt, who was ready to, he's speaking to Lord Chaitanya, very intimate exchange, and he says, my dear Lord, all these people are suffering such horrible pains from their karma, from sinful activities, just in all the universes, let all those sins come onto me, and I'll suffer here for millions of births, and they'll go back to Godhead. And Lord Chaitanya cried at that. He gave him a big hug and said, no, that's not necessary. They'll be delivered anyway because of your ardent desire. And that's the mood of the Vaishnava. If there is some hope that people can understand, we'll give out these books by the thousands. We know that many of them hopefully lie dormant on a shelf somewhere. Unfortunately, many of them end up in the trash. People don't read them, whatever. But still, we give out this knowledge because there are some who will benefit from it. And the knowledge will enter their hearts to become curious, to become interested, they become Vaishnavas. And many of us became Vaishnavas that way, through a book distributor. So, this injunction doesn't hold when you have behind it the absolute truth in Krishna and Lord Chaitanya, their teachings. Now I remember when CC came out, first of all this Upadeshamrita, devotees were thinking, well, this is obviously an internal book. It's all about how devotees should practice. It takes you from what guru to choose, actually, someone who's completely self-controlled. And then very practical instructions. These 6 things, which expand to 8, impede your devotion, destroy it, pranashati, completely destroy it. We should know these verses. Atyahara, priyasascha, prajalpo, niyamagraha, janasangas chalaulyam cha, shadbir, bhakti, pranashati. Pranashati means, Sanskrit, totally destroyed, right? The pra increased. So, overeating or over-collecting things. Very strong effort for something material, priyasha. Nonsense talk, hearing or speaking things that have no relation to Krishna. Niyamagraha means not carefully following the prescribed do's and don'ts, or following them in such a way that your heart isn't in it, just going through the motions. That's it. Janasanga, associating with materialists, and laulyam, greed for material things. Even just being greedy, not even doing anything about it, but having a longing for some material thing. This is great. All these things are great impediments. On the other side, hopeful side, utsahan, nishchayad, paryat, tat karma pavartanat, sanga tyagat sato vritte shadbhi bhakti prasidyati. So, these things, prasidyati, these further your devotion, make it expand. Enthusiasm. Don't just, don't just do it half-heartedly. Whatever you're going to do, whether it's cleaning, cooking, puja, kirtan, anything. Put your whole self, even if you're not really enthusiastic, try to be enthusiastic and the enthusiasm will come. And then, nishchayad means determination. And dharya means patience. So this holds true for anything you want to do. And then tat karma pavartana means following carefully all the things that we're supposed to do. Read the nectar of devotion, you learn getting up at the right time, how to bathe, bowing down. So tat karma pavartana. So there's practically at every moment there's a Krishna conscious way of doing anything. Right? And that we should know that and try to do it. That's Krishna consciousness, that attention will give you quick advancement. So all of these things, enthusiasm, determination, and patience, in regard to tat karma pravartana, all the things that we're meant to do. And then sangha tyaga. Now the sangha is emphasized both in the do and the don't, by positively associating, searching out the good association and hearing, chanting, sharing with others. And satovritte, following in the footsteps of the acharyas. There's so many great devotees we've seen, so many good devotees who've gone before us that we can emulate in this movement as well. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but here it goes on and it gets more. I gave you another one about not judging a devotee externally, and what should then there's these two ones that are my favorites of all, 7 and 8, which are the holy name, form and pastimes of Krishna are sweet as nectar. But now, because our tongue is covered by the bile of ignorance, we taste them as bitter. Or in other words, we don't want to chant very much. But if someone continues to chant in spite of that, then the disease of ignorance is destroyed at its root, and all of these things become extremely sweet. Maradam mararebhyopi mangalebhyopi mangalam. The sweetest of the sweet is the holy name. So then the next verse is Tannama rupa kirtanano smityo kamena rasanamasi niyoja. That the essence of all advice, here you have the 11 verses which are the essence of instruction. Now the essence of the essence is that one should spend one's entire time, he says, stay in Vrindavan. We learn that can also be mentally, but emphasizing that. And just hear and chant. Hear the holy name, qualities, pastimes of Krishna. And in this way develop one's bhakti to the highest point. So then it goes on, I don't know the last three by heart, but it talks about the relative best places, ultimately coming to Radha Kund and like that. And I say, okay, this is obviously an internal book. What is Joe Sixpack gonna benefit from this? No, Prabhu said print 100,000 and hand them out at the airport. Okay, Prabhu wants it, and that's what we did. How is that? Because somehow something in that book, the pictures, the illustrations, some wording, will someone out there it'll affect. Same thing with Antya Leela, the CC that we printed. It came 75, the famous 17 volumes, very expensive, printing all these sets. And what could be more internal than the Antya Leela of the CC? Lord Chaitanya's mood of separation from Krishna and the mood of Radharani. Is this for the mass? Yes, print 20,000 sets. It was quite an experience. And then they would go out with, they broke up the sets. They'd go out with Antya Leela Volume 3, and Madhya Leela, all these things. So that's one of the reasons why it took 20 years to get all the books distributed, because once you break up a set, you can't sell the set. So anyway. So the point I'm making is that Srila Prabhupada, he violated that rule, that the Shudras, worse than Shudras, were outside, cannot read the Vedas. Because at the very end, the essence of all the Vedic knowledge is bhakti. And bhakti is universal. It's for everybody. Low, high, color, it doesn't matter. And so Prabhupada's books are all written in that way, that if you just pick one up and you read one purport, even if it's 7th Canto, Volume 3, you can get something out of it, and it can strike you, because he's writing to everybody. So I thought I'd share that. That came to mind here. That Binna Setave, that this he accused him of, because you see what is Daksha has a certain argument here. If you recall, he's saying that he's given a bad name to all of these leaders, because he's in a position, and now he's disrespected me, and he doesn't wash properly and everything. So he's a bad influence on everybody. He's really going bonkers, And you'll see eventually this will culminate in a huge war and the appearance of Virabhadra. That's an exciting. And he'll take care of Daksha. And then he learns his lesson finally. Okay, it's 8:30. I'm going to read this again, just in case you forgot. He has eyes like a monkey's, yet he has married my daughter, whose eyes are just like those of a deer cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words. I didn't want to give my daughter to this person who has broken all rules of civility because of not observing the required rules and regulations. He's impure. But I was obliged to hand over my daughter to him, just as one teaches the messages of the Vedas to a Shudra. In other words, I didn't want to do it, and one shouldn't do it. But Prabhupada did it and created this movement. Any questions, comments? Well, yeah, a fawn, a young deer. Yeah, for deer, it probably shouldn't be cub. I doubt if we change that since it's understood pretty much what he means. Harina. Yes, Maharaj. When it? Stop. You mean while he was doing it? I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for Brahma to do something. He didn't do anything either. I don't know. Yeah, I can look it up. Maybe Vishwanath, in your new book, you have the the Bhagavatam with all of Vishwanath's commentaries. He may have say something. He sometimes picks up on those things. All right, I'm going to end with a poem. I hadn't seen this one before. This one will get you know. Everybody dies. Nobody dies. Wake up and open your eyes. You're not that body, you're a pure spirit soul. Chant the holy name and attain life's goal. Don't love the body. This I got from Mahavishnu Maharaj, the elder, who's passed away. We used to have a night. He used to come here all the time and share shlokas. You remember? Yeah. So I'm standing in line in Vrindavan. He's a brahmachari at that time. He hadn't taken sannyas yet. This was the early 90s. And we're waiting for prasad. So I said, would you like a nice shloka? I said, yeah. And he pulls out a little pad to take notes. I said, oh, he's really serious. So I forgot the one that I gave him, but he gave me this verse in Sanskrit. Dehishti mangsurudidemi matam chajasya jaya sutaricha sadama matam vimuncha pushyani sam jagaditam chanabhangatishtam vairagya raga rasiko bhava bhakti nishtam. Vairagya raga. Get some raga for vairagya. Become attached to detachment and become a rasika, a taster. Says, don't love the body. Just a bag of flesh and blood and bone. Give up your sense of ownership for wife and kids and home. At every moment, see that your world totters on destruction. Become detached and learn to love the Lord without obstruction. It's good preaching verse. Wake people up. Yeah. That's a t-shirt. I have a couple of t-shirt poems. Don't sin. You can't win. Love God, not the bod. Chant Hare Krishna. Sense pleasure is the bod. The bod is bod is a slang word for body, especially on beaches. Oh, he's got a nice bod. She has a nice bod. You know, bod. So it has to rhyme with God. Then the last one. Radhanath Swami liked this one. I gave it to him. Since pleasure is a dream, Krishna supreme. The aim is prem and the way is the name. All glories to the Prabhupada. Hari Hari. You're welcome. You see, Maharaj, you can have that poem. Just tell him it's, you don't have to tell him it's yours, but you don't. And you make up some T-shirts with that on there. All your disciples will buy it. You'll be able to fly around the world very easily. But you have to